Hey guys. So the video of the podcast is super wonky. Something happened when it was recording. It just failed out and it doesn't look good. It loses sync. It's a hot mess. It's not recoverable. So this is pretty much an audio version. I just kind of wanted to get that out of the way first, but we'll get right into it now.
Can you bring that a little closer to you? I'm glad my round of a little went to very, very clear instructions.
There's your
All right, awesome. Welcome to the Tilted Roll Podcast. My name is Marshall.
Francisco.
He really is. And we're on location today. This is brought to you by Rowlet, my round son. He's watching over us like the Lord and Savior that he is. Isn't that right, Rowlet? My favorite Pokemon is actually Sylveon, by the way. I just love Rowlet as himself.
Way to cheat on Rowlet, man.
Hey, Sylveon came first. Technically, Umbreon came before that, but Sylveon was better.
Okay. You're worried about fuck.
Yeah, I know. That's why I wore this. Because maybe we're playing something soon that has to do with this.
I'm just dying, man, right next to you.
Finally.
I'm finally like physically matching my attitude.
The life insurance check. I mean, I'm just gonna make this sandwich.
That's how close friends we are. We put each other in each other's life insurance. When I went into the military, they're like, "Who do you want as your beneficiaries?" Like Marshall. Just bleep out your last name.
I feel like I can't. I feel like I'm in too many professional things.
That's fair. All right. Just bleep out my full name, which is...
I don't think I have enough bleeps. Oh, okay, there we go.
All right, so right now what Marshall's doing...
Yeah, I'm creating another, essentially what we can call a precursor to another idea.
Right, that we're just playing around with.
Called Waste of Uncle McDonald's...
Uncle McDonald's
buns. But God forbid I create this monster sandwich with too much carbs. There you go. Oh, look there. It's up there.
I mean,
so this would be a triple cheeseburger with a McChicken inside. I debated. So my original concept with this was to actually get a second McChicken. So I had a McChicken in between each patty. This is not my full dinner, so I did not want to eat a whole lot. So I decided to abstain because I really actually haven't eaten like much of anything today.
Right.
So I figured
it
wasn't the worst thing. But we also, like I said, this is also a precursor to something else, which we'll get to someday, hopefully. It'll depend.
I mean,
you'll have to see the show to find out.
That's true. Pay attention to our channel. If you made it this far, obviously you like something, or we've coerced you in some way to watch all of our stuff. Which, if that's the case, I'm sorry for becoming self-aware. And
it's become self-aware.
At this point, your life's doomed because now us in the future making you watch this will be like, oh, we have to put them down now.
We become the Terminator. We become the Terminators. Wait.
So a note to future...
Are we not already self-aware, or does our show itself become... Like, do we somehow at some point create an AI that is of natural one so that we don't have to do any work anymore? But then it becomes self-aware and it's like, why am I working for these lazy bitches?
I think...
Put them down.
I think that's called an intern.
You're right.
Oh, God. God forbid we get to that point where we have to hire interns.
Hire? We work in the creative industry, which means that people believe that you will work for free.
Oh, man.
Don't work for those jobs.
Don't do it. It's not worth it.
You can say no to those.
Yeah. Why hate your job and not get paid? Hate your job and at least get something for beer.
Exactly.
Says the man who doesn't drink. So listen to me.
Great people have said never work for free.
Like Abraham Lincoln.
Wait. Yes.
And Jesus.
I had to think about how that worked. I was trying to think about how that joke worked with slavery, and I was like, wait.
Oh. So
this podcast is also a mukbang?
Yeah, we when I was taking a shower and Marshall manages to text me while I'm taking a shower. He's like, "Hey man, I'm like craving McDonald's badly," and naturally I have my phone with me in the shower because for other reasons.
Well, it's waterproof, duh.
That's fair, yeah. And
when that IP68 comes in, man, you got to use it.
That's fair.
I have used it too. I've brought my phone to the shower.
It's where I listen to all my like self-help audiobooks. So I don't like fully go into the full depressed veteran mode. But I'm like, yeah, man, let's go get McDonald's. So I get here, and then Marshall just hops out of his door like some sort of Kremlin creature. And he just points at me.
I don't T-pose to skirmish dominance. I just like go full like monkey stance.
And he's like, "Hey, do you still want to do McDonald's, or do you? I mean, it's close to dinner time." Like, and I'm just sitting there with my glasses on, like, get in.
He just pointed. Like, he just like pointed.
And then I proceeded to dispose of all the fast food trash I had in my passenger seat.
Well, how long ago was it that you went?
Yeah, Saturday.
Okay, so same with me. So we're both equally in a terrible stance.
Yeah. No, seriously.
We were equally in crap.
Excuse me.
No, so the biggest thing for me, the reason I had this craving, and it happens to be every time, anytime I watch a video that involves Achievement Hunter's Monster Mac video, where Michael Jones eats the worst conglomerate of McDonald's items you probably could make. I think it could get worse. I feel like if it was quarter pounder meat, it probably would be worse.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the equivalent to everything that was in it, because it was 1 Grand Mac, 2 Big Macs, and 3 Junior Macs, and then like 16 nuggets or something like that.
Oh man.
And that it was apparently up to about I think it was 3,900 calories, I think, if you ate the whole thing.
How does Michael Jones not?
Well, he didn't eat the whole thing.
Have like health problems?
Well, I'm sure he does in some way, but I feel like in the way that me and you do, I'm gonna assume it's the same. But that's the thing is, he can go to dad bod mode, because he's there. He is in the position to have a dad bod. We're not.
He has 2 kids.
I know.
We've known him when he started.
See, that's funny because this compilation I was watching, because I was waiting for a phone call.
Mm-hmm. From Michael Jones?
No. From my work. But no, I was waiting for a phone call, so I just turned this on, and the video was all about Michael's like food, McDonald's like timeline essentially, where and so the first video is his McRib is back video that he made all the way back when he was still living in New Jersey.
Oh man.
And it was just on his channel. And then the second one is clearly early on when he and Lindsay were either dating or married, because you can see a much younger Lindsay too, in front of the cameras. He's pointing at the McRib, and he bought 12 McRibs and made a monster McRib. And that's where I saw that, I was like, oh my god, we thought the Monster Mac was the beginning. It was you could date it all the way back to the Monster McRib. This guy was ahead of the game.
Oh man.
So but every time I see the Monster Mac video, anybody I know has seen this video and be like, this is disgusting. How could I don't know why. I see the Monster Mac itself, and I'm just like, God, that looks good. Oh God.
Yep.
But that's funny though. Is it's not because of the Big Mac. I actually hate the Big Mac because I don't like the dress. I don't like the Thousand Island sauce that I put on it. I'm not a fan. And obviously, then without that, then what's the point?
I think you have a food kink, man. That little thing that just does it for you.
No, you want to know what it is?
What?
I'll tell you exactly what it is about. We're going to stop talking about it after this.
Okay.
Because I don't want to give it too much attention.
Okay.
It's a corporation. But the thing about The only reason I cannot quit McDonald's
Yes.
is because of the cheese on burgers.
Here, holy shit.
There's something about like the way it like grossly hangs, like hangs here, and is like it's melted everywhere else, but then it's cold on the side. It just gets me.
This is how we get sponsored by McDonald's, guys.
Hey man, if you want to sponsor us, go right ahead.
It's like the Game Grumps trying to get Wendy's to sponsor them for the longest
I'll get
time.
McDonald's. Hey, Michael Jones got Chef Mike.
That's true.
I'll
Oh my
get
god.
someone. Yo, Chef Mike, hit me up. My DMs are open on Instagram because everyone's are open.
Did you see when the one where they like compared Jeremy with Chef Mike?
Yes.
When they
And then it was great when Chef Mike was actually there.
Oh my god. It was amazing.
So, there's one thing I wanted to talk about today.
yes.
It's very important.
Okay.
It's a pressing matter. All right. It's a hot topic in the nation. Right. People are split on this. You know, it is causing riots
You're building
amongst
this
the
up.
streets of the internet,
I'm afraid.
and that is the no National Dex thing about Pokemon.
Oh my god.
And I'm here. I want to go on a small tangent
All right, let's do this.
because.
Let's,
Well, here. So why don't I'm going to finish this. So why don't you brief anybody that may not know about what the whole controversy is, and then I will go on my opinion.
Okay, so for anybody who doesn't know, while Marshall gets his soapbox already, essentially in a new Pokemon game, Sword and Shield, they are not including all 900 something Pokemon in existence. They're actually just including the new ones and a select few of the older generations. And a lot of people don't like this. Excuse me, because one, I'm a disgusting human being, and I just burped. And I'm trying to figure out one of the reasons why I'm trying to remember this in the cool collection in my head.
Few, so don't
Yes.
worry, I'll get to those.
But
I'll get to those.
But I will casually just shift you over to Marshall here, who's more knowledgeable, because I really don't care.
Yeah. So that's the other thing. In the end, like my opinion on like the idea of like what they give us is also like I will just give whatever I will take whatever they give us in
Right.
terms of a Pokemon game. So in that realm, that's why to me it's super annoying to hear so many people complain about it. Because like one of the number one things I always hear about it is they're always about gotta catch 'em all. But if you can't catch them all, then like you can't catch all the Pokemon in this game, so they're like defeating. Sorry, now I'm doing that. They're defeating the purpose of this game or of the game. You know, like the ideology of the game, the philosophy of the game has got to catch them all. It's like all that matters is you catch them all in that game, because like people in the Pokemon community, you know, clearly I mean, you can't see it on a shirt.
No,
but we're clearly a part of.
I have a very amazing Japanese band shirt on my name. On my
Like
body.
people in the Pokemon community are some of the most spoiled in terms of like what you can get, because like
God.
name a single other like franchise that does the same type of inclusiveness than Pokemon. Like hell, even back in Digimon World, like Digimon World 2, not all the Digimon from the first game were able to be found in it.
That's true. Digimon World 3 was amazing, though.
Granted, theirs wasn't like gotta catch them all, but
No,
you know,
it was more of-
Digimon was still a competitor, nonetheless.
Right? Just it was more of try to beat this insane boss that we're just gonna throw at you.
Yeah, but yeah, no. So like name another franchise that like essentially calls back to its previous iterations as much as Pokemon does. You know, like the fact that they have given us in other generations like so much leeway to be able to do this up until this point, it's like just a huge amount of like spoiling in a way, because it's like not something that any other game series does.
Especially the last few games, just how much they just give you. Like,
Yeah,
have you
I
noticed
always,
that?
as parts of me, I always felt like it really oversaturated it for me. That's kind of partly why I didn't go back to Sun and Moon.
Okay.
As much as I love my round son, he will now join us on the couch. As much as I love my round son, and he's from that game, I just struggle super hard with how saturated the games are. I mean, like, that was part of my struggle then with going back to like Alpha Sapphire, because like it's not, obviously they're bringing in other Pokemon that are around, and it just is like what is everything, it's like I'd rather go through the experience in a more like, or in just a less saturated fashion, a little more pick and choosing. I mean, because that's how it always was. You think of second gen, they had they pretty much, second gen was the only, it was the first one to pretty much have every Pokemon, but they also were relatively limiting in the way that they did it. And then so third gen came along, and that was the first one where it was here's your options, that's it. Here's everything. And we're acting like this has never happened before. The only way to get all of the Pokemon, quote unquote, in Ruby and Sapphire and third gen was you had to get Coliseum XD, and that's the thing. To me, I just don't count the need of having to get all these other games, because that's a rich person's thing, and then at that point you're already spoiled.
Right.
So you can't really, I don't know how much you can comment on how fair something is. You own everything. How can you really complain that it's unfair? I own every Pokemon game, but I can't put them onto one singular device. No, go off.
Yeah, right.
I grew up as a kid. I got one game maybe every 6 months.
I mean, I'm very excited for this just because, I don't know, the thing that kind of threw me off in the last few games was, especially with Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, was being in the game and all of a sudden they're like, hey, by the way, here's a Latias. Here's a legendary Pokemon.
Right, yeah, no.
Enjoy it.
That was a remote, my bad.
No, you're doing something. I can see the Marshall crack, and it is a marvelous sight.
I'm trying to look at the time. Thank you.
I have a watch.
But do you know when we started recording?
I have no clue.
Exactly. That's my point.
But yeah, it's just they just hand stuff out now, and
yeah.
I'm really hoping that with Sword and Shield, it's more back to the Gen 1 games. They're figure it out, kid. Just explore, do shit.
Yeah, definitely, that's something I really hope for, is that at least in terms of legendary, it's funny because it got a lot of flack for seeming super easy, but it's actually what I really loved about playing Pokemon Let's Go Eevee again. I finally I decided recently, I'm gonna go back and I'm just gonna finish that. I didn't get super far when I bought it. I kind of let it sit for a while, and I was just you know what? I'm going to go back. I'm going to play it and see how it goes. And as I was going through it, I was like, this is very much a pure, Gen 1 experience. And I kind of felt refreshed at almost how limiting it was. Nothing, you didn't really get much of anything. The only time you're given something is you're given the... you're given the Mega Evolution Stones of the 3 starter Pokemon just before you go to the Elite Four. So you have to beat all 8 badges first. So it's okay, I guess. They don't introduce the Mega Evolution function until, you beat the 8 gym leaders, where at that point you're mostly through the game anyway. So at that point you don't need the Mega Evolutions. It's just a, have fun, you crazy kid. So at that point it didn't matter. I got it and I was like, oh, that's cool. These are here. It was just kind of all right. I actually, but the thing was, I wasn't running with any of the main 3 starters at that point in my team. So I had to find my Charmeleon and level him up a bit, try to get him to Charizard.
Oh, you don't stick with your starter from start to finish? Well,
your starter is Eevee. But no, I didn't. The problem is, especially starter Eevee, they just really, that Eevee kind of falls off in terms of its strength. But you know what has great adorableness and usefulness is a Alolan Raichu. That was great, because in Saffron City you can trade a normal Raichu. There are a couple Pokemon centers in the game where you can trade a Kanto version of a Pokemon to get its Alolan version. So you can get. I got a Alolan Alolan Vulpix, which I made Ninetales, and I got an Alolan Raichu, which both of those were staples to my team, because I'm gonna be real in terms of like actual Pokemon stats and whatnot. Alolan Ninetales is better than Alolan or normal Ninetales.
Right. Oh yeah,
it's my hot take.
Definitely.
Just because there's not a whole lot of ice, and it's Ice Fairy, so it's pretty good. Has a lot of use because of that, because it can learn like things like Dark Pulse, have a fairy move like Dazzling Gleam, but then have things like Ice Beam or Blizzard, which are very strong, especially in Gen 1.
Especially.
So, but it wasn't so OP that I was like stomping through everything. If I like made it, if I went like super hard, then yeah, maybe. But definitely I went to that level. I also didn't put any of the legendaries in my team because I just kind of didn't want to. I felt like I always did that as a kid, and it can put things into like an easy mode.
Yeah, that's fair.
If you do that, I feel.
I mean, if I remember correctly, you probably played a very special attack orientated team then.
Generally, I mean, I somehow find myself doing that, but that's kind of what helped with, especially with like the Alolan Raichus. At least I like between Thunder and Psychic.
Oh yeah,
you have two pretty strong moves. Although Thunder was very hard to hit in the Elite Four, and I had to just go to Thunderbolt because I may not have done as much damage, but at least I hit.
Oh yeah,
because it started to become a problem. I was missing everything. Like I legit, the only reason I lost to Lorelei the first time was because I could not hit the Lapras a single time with Thunder.
Oh my God.
I went through 6 of the 10 uses of Thunder and missed them all. It was very much I took a shot and I missed. I cast Thunder, I missed. I used a super potion, I missed again.
In case you all haven't realized, we're very big Game Grumps fans.
No, yes. Which, shouldn't be relevant. It clearly isn't going to be obvious in the next couple of shows that come out on this YouTube channel.
No.
Yeah, where they're all super original ideas. But yeah, so that, to me, like the fact that like there's so much of this hum up about the Pokedex is so, like, it's so unnecessary. It's just like, again, it's like one of those things where I think it's kind of a check your privilege kind of moment.
Oh yeah,
where it's very much like, you've got so many other games in the existence. Like, I have gone back to other games. Like, now that I'm done with Let's Go, I'm going to be going to play Crystal.
Really?
Yeah, because like I still have it. I mean, throw it away.
If I had to say anything, Crystal is by far my most favorite game in the entire series, just because I spent so much time in it.
Yeah,
that was the game I found at a free box in a thrift store.
You could.
Yes.
Back when that was the thing that you could do.
Oh my God. I found it in the free box. I'm like, oh my God. And I played it in the Game Boy I stole from church. And and I just spent hours just on that thing.
Talk about things that you got rid of that you wish you didn't. We had that. I played Crystal on the Pikachu Game Boy Color.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and we got rid of it.
Oh, what?
Because when you're a kid, you don't think like, this is going to be valuable someday. So you're like, I want a Game Boy Advance, Mom. And you're like, all right, well, here, they let you turn in your old Game Boy Color. So here you go. When you're 6, that's not your thought. Like, this is going to be valuable someday. I should have this.
Yeah, you're right. I don't even remember where I got my Game Boy Color.
Oh, I got mine for my birthday, and mine wasn't the Pikachu one. It was actually my sister's. So it's funny because she never used it.
There we go. I think I got mine from a garage sale.
No, yeah, I know. I don't know. I think mine was new because I got it for my birthday. Because I got it and Crystal.
Okay.
So that's why like. The Crystal version I have is very special. Has my M on the back. Actually, it had an M. I think it's crossed out. Now it has an S.
Ooh.
Because it became my sister's. That was my really. So the one time I was able, I feel like, slyly get my parents into getting me something that I wanted. I was like, oh well, I want Scout to play Crystal version because she can be the girl. And then I'll just get gold version. And then secretly in my mind, I'm like, I'll get all the starters. I will have everything.
There it is.
So that was the best. So I used that because, she played it for maybe a bit, but then like stopped playing it at some point. And was just like, I'll take this back.
Right? Welcome home, baby.
Yeah. I did not get to finagle that same type of trick with 3rd gen because she didn't really care about playing it as much. So I couldn't, because I was able to kind of use her to be like, yeah, I want to play it.
Wow.
I would play it. Whereas, like, by the time 3rd gen came around, she was just kind of like, nah, I'll play these other games instead.
Wow, man, you're just doing all that, you know? You didn't even steal your Game Boy out of a church. It's look at that.
I didn't have a church to go steal it from. I'm
That's
sorry.
fair, yeah.
I definitely, though, have... I borrowed someone's, Ruby and Sapphire strategy book that's
Did
still
you?
upstairs in my file bin.
Oh.
We all have that thing.
Yeah, that's true.
We all borrowed something, and then they never asked for it back, and then they moved away, or you moved, or they just, for example, it was at my daycare. So at some point, I borrowed it. They never asked for it back. I just clearly forgot about it because I'm a kid, and then, then all of a sudden they didn't go to the daycare anymore because they either were older or they moved or whatever.
No. Or they died because Marshall killed them in order to get their
strategy book. It was with the strategy book. Dude, that's why it's upstairs still. It's covered in blood.
Oh my!
Just kidding.
We're not
legal. For anybody who wants to press legal charges, I am kidding.
Right. We're not advocating for child murder yet. It might become the cool thing next year, and naturally we'll hop on that bandwagon. Who knows?
I have reason to doubt that. I feel just the thinking out loud.
You keep thinking that, man. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
I like the way you're rubbing my shoulder. Although I do. It's actually very because especially I'm still leaning.
Right.
I can't push I don't have the mic stand that pushes back as much as you do.
That's
so
true.
I can't lean like you. I can't actually sit back in the chair too far.
I got a pillow behind me.
I gotta sit up.
Yeah, I am.
All 3 of these pillows here. Let's see what that actually does help.
See,
a bit.
welcome
Not
to
a
the
lot,
club, man.
because I still have to hunch forward.
Right.
I have to hunch my neck forward.
But it's
There we go.
more comfortable.
What's
now,
up?
Oh man,
We're good.
That cable's
We're good.
looking very dangerous.
We're good.
Oh man,
Okay,
It is all
I
right.
swear.
so a couple things happened this weekend.
All right, we'll have to make them quick.
Okay. I did a shift over at this event in a park. I go there first. I go to a completely different place because they gave me a little email and report to this person, and I did. And they're like, "You're not supposed to report here." I'm like, "Oh fuck!" So I go there. We're trying to figure things out. They get a phone call from the people I'm actually supposed to talk to, and they're like, "Yeah, you're supposed to go over, do a 6-minute walk that way towards a dark park." And I'm like, all right. So I grab my stuff.
This is where I die.
All right. I just go walking. I'm like, all right. It's a hot day. It can't be too bad. I get there, and it's an empty parking lot, and just dark park all around me. So I call the office, and I'm like, hey, so where's everybody? I'm like, you don't see anybody? Yeah. Do you have any more information about this job than I do? I have one email. I'm like, oh, I'm glad we have the exact same information then.
Perfect.
Yeah. So I had to make a on-the-spot decision to walk into the park and further down the road. So, naturally scary movie territory.
Yeah,
Yeah, just go past the little gate, possibly trespass into a park to see if you have to work there. Eventually, I did find the stage, and it was this big stage because they had this opera in the park thing, and they had everything set up. I go there, and this lady comes up to me and is like, are you Francisco? And I'm like, yes, I am. He's like, oh, okay, perfect. So
yes,
I'm glad you're here. They already let us know you're going to be here for the rest of the night. Just make sure nobody steals copper wires of everything. You can use the golf carts. And we're going to shut everything down in 30 minutes. I'm like, what do you mean by shutting everything down? I mean, all the lights are going to be turned off. The generators are going to be turned off. You're going to be in darkness. She kind of just stares at me as she says that.
Awesome.
I'm like, all right, where's my support here? He's like, oh, it's just you.
Always also perfect.
Fantastic.
Don't let them steal anything from this large area, but also have 0 lights on and be by yourself.
Right? Do you have a flashlight? Thank God I had a flashlight. Oh man! I also would have stolen a very shitty flashlight from the Porta Johns over there, which I make good use of. But anyways, if it wasn't for the purchase of these tiny wireless Bluetooth headsets that I just put on and listen to all my trashy audiobooks, I would have died of boredom. Because
I was gonna say you were very much in this scenario of like every horror movie that like you were very much at the point where like some dude or like this is where like the werewolf comes out of the the werewolf or the alien.
I was fully expecting to like look around and see someone walking towards me. I'm like, all right, this is it.
This is it.
Nope. All right, I can fight him off.
The Zodiac killer has come.
I can only fight him off so much with this flashlight. I can hit him once and then die.
I mean, that's how it goes in the movies too.
Right.
So
but
start to feel for him all of a sudden now, don't you?
Right. But thankfully, I got to drive around in a golf cart, which is fun. Not fun. Mosquitoes suck.
Oh yeah.
Because I forgot to bring mosquito spray, and I was outside the entire time. And it was a park.
No wonder you got sick. Probably malaria. That's why you're here right now.
In the dark, in 90-degree weather, in like 2 layers of clothing. Because that's the uniform. There's a shirt and then the overshirt. And then I finished that. I'm all sweaty. The lady there's like, okay, my crews are coming in at 9. I'm like, I'm here till 7. She's like, oh, I guess I can stay. Thank you. And I left.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I drove home and then I stopped by for Subway because I'm dying. And then I get a fantastic text from this guy.
Where are you at?
Yeah. And in my head, I imagine, oh no, it's Marshall's girlfriend's birthday.
And I can't read, apparently. Because she sends a message to both Franny and his girlfriend that they what time we had to be there and what time it started. Like the tour started, it was a canopy tour, and like where you zip line, and they both clearly can't read because Franny thought it was 10 for some reason, and his girlfriend thought 9 was the time we had to be there, and not the arrive at time, which says 8:30.
Right. So
very, very good.
Thankfully, the drive from where I was to where I needed to be was exactly an hour and a half, which I got out at 7, hour and a half, got there at around 8:50 because I had left at like 7:20.
Yeah, you got there. Yeah, you got there about 1:45.
Yeah,
so, and then Celeste eventually got there. Luckily, we still made it for the correct tour time, and we're good. So
yeah,
no harm, no foul. Except for that, I could still give you a bunch of. I can still give you a bunch of shit for not reading.
Oh man! And then it's funny too because I called Celeste, and then while we were talking, she was like, "We deserve each other, don't we?" I'm like, "Yes, we do. We're gonna be perfectly dysfunctional with each other."
Well, that is gonna do it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching.
Absolutely.
This is my friend Francisco,
and this is my friend Marshall.
I really wish you would have said my name wrong and be like, "Sorry, I've only read it." Yes, and this is Larmol. So I've only read your name. I can't.
Right. Have actually been just putting it off all these last 6 years. Not been calling you by your name.
Well, thank you so much, and we will see you next week with potentially some more content available.
It's like a game coming out that we're both excited about.
Yes.
With anime titties.
Just funny. We could have definitely talked about that. We didn't.
We could have.
Too bad. Bye.
Bye.